Well, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, let me tell you the latest bullshit from the Oak Ridge Police Department. I'm Attorney Christmas, and I often make videos of the Oak Ridge Police Department where they say and do something stupid. So, here's another video. If you recall, a while back, I made a video about a client that we had that was charged with animal cruelty because the Oak Ridge Police Department accused my client of committing cruelty on some chickens he had in his yard. Now, the allegations are very unclear and vague. We don't know exactly why they think he's committing cruelty, but they are accusing him of it. They try to say because they didn't have food, but then they had to admit on the stand that there was food. And then they try to say there was no water, but then they had to admit on the stand there was water. And then so they had to fall and say, well, it's because of the type of enclosure he had. And that was some kind of cruelty because the enclosure he had was inadequate. Now, my client is an expert on chicken growing, and it's crazy. 39 years of raising chickens. He has a farm, and he has like over 100 acres of farm and chickens and things of that nature. But he had some of these chickens that he got from Tractor Supply. His little daughter wanted some, so he had them in the yard, and he was experimenting, doing this thing called like rotational agriculture, where he would move the chicken pen that was movable each day to a different square in his yard. And he had a drone, and he flew it up, and he was taking an aerial photo of his yard, and you can see where the chickens were pecking and eating the grass and the clover. It was growing new grass that was really green. And you could see where the chickens had been eating and where the chickens had not been eating. What boiled down to is the code enforcer from the city came by and tried to give him bullshit about having these chickens in the yard, and he said, well, I'm not moving them, write me a ticket and I'll go to court. Well, instead of writing him a ticket and going to court, they charged him with animal cruelty. One of the biggest bullshittery cases I have ever seen in my life. Now, what do you think that the Oak Ridge Police Department did and the animal code enforcer people did when they arrested my client? Do you think that they seized these chickens and fed them and watered them because they were so malnourished and saved these chickens? No. They arrested my client and then proceeded to leave the chickens there overnight and then came back the next day and got them. So I was kind of a smart ass. I go, officer, you're claiming that these chickens were victims of animal cruelty. Before you left the chickens there overnight, did you feed them? Now, I had to ask that question about 5 different times before the officer gave me a straight answer. No, she didn't feed them. Well, before you left them there overnight, and you said that they were just starving to death and thirsty to death, did you water them before you left? No, I did not. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. You're claiming that these chickens were being abused, and then you left them there alone with no one to care for them because the guy caring for them is in jail, and you left them there knowing they needed food and water, and you chose not to give them food and water. Shouldn't your ass be charged too? And the truth is they were fed and watered very well. We actually have photograph proof of that. And the photographs that the government took also shows they had food and water. It's kind of funny they try to say there was no food and water. But, Oak Ridge Police Department lying? Shoo, never. They would never lie.